Today, I wanted to dive into the topic of what happened to Ted Faro, specifically what happened to him in the events after Zero Dawn. As you may know, we found out new information in Forbidden West about what ended up happening to Ted Faro. Now, I find this stuff fascinating because, like I've said in the past, video games like Horizon Zero Dawn really puts your curiosity to the test. So now that we have Forbidden West, it does the same thing. It puts your curiosity to the test. It pushes you and makes you ask questions. I think that's really wonderful. Towards the end of the game, though, we're gonna get right into the topic. About, I would say, 4 missions before the ending, you have a mission called the Tomb of Ted Faro, where you go into the bunker that Ted went to hide after the world came to an end. In there, he took many of his girlfriends. Like, we find different information around the tomb, so to speak. It was really a bunker, right? Where it really just talks about some of the people that he brought with him. So some of them, like I mentioned, was his girlfriends. He took a doctor named Dr. Somptow. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Ted Faro also took Dr. Somptow's daughter in there. Kanya was her name. So one of the first recordings you actually find inside of the bunker is Kanya saying how weird it was to live with Ted Faro and the guru and her dad alone in the bunker. So what ended up happening to the girlfriends, because she didn't mention anything about them? Well, Ted actually killed them. If you can believe that Ted actually killed the girlfriends and some of the women that he took in the bunker with him. What I personally believe is Ted was suffering from many things, and you go in some of the recordings, it actually says that he was mentally unstable. So he had the doctor there with him to help him come up with a sort of anti-aging therapy, kind of like what the Zeniths were doing, and he wanted to live longer. So with this anti-aging therapy that he was doing, the doctor had to constantly monitor Ted, right? He needed to make sure he didn't continue to mutate into something worse, because some of the side effects for the anti-aging therapy was some sort of mutations. So Ted's big plan was actually to greet all the new humans that were supposed to be born after the terraforming of Earth had finished. He wanted to lead these new humans and teach them in his own twisted way, I believe, right? So that's why he wanted to live longer. I guess he wanted to be like some god figure to all of the new humans that were gonna be inhabiting Earth, hundreds of years later after the events of Zero Dawn. Well, obviously, as we know, that didn't end up happening, because Kanya was actually very scared and worried that she was able to convince her father, the doctor, to kill himself along with her, and just be rid of the nightmare that was living with Ted, because it was just them in a world that was basically dead. There was nothing out there. So I mean, it's pretty grim, pretty crazy stuff. And really, it's just, imagine having you're a teenage girl and you're living there with your dad and some crazy maniac, right? And he's getting all these treatments done, and it's just so weird, and all your friends and your family and everything is dead, and you're alone in the world, and you don't know how long it's gonna take. It's very, very nasty, disturbing, creepy stuff if you really sit down and think about it. So anyways, a couple days pass, or maybe weeks, months after that, and Ted finds the doctor and his daughter dead in one of the rooms. And if I hadn't really mentioned before, the guru that they had in there, because in one of the recordings they talk about a guru, he was also dead because Ted ended up killing him after he found out what he did during Zero Dawn. So it was just a lot of things like that. Obviously Ted was just very, very paranoid. So in the end, Ted Faro was alone. He was the only human alive in all of Earth, if you can believe that. He was alone in his weird bunker, and the bunker seemed like a freaking shrine to himself. All the money and the power that he possessed, and it was just baffling to me that he couldn't catch a ride with the Zeniths. But Ted decided to put himself in a generator room after the doctor passed away, because he believed this would slow down the mutations from the anti-aging therapy, because the doctor wasn't there to monitor him anymore. So this ended up not working, right? And our narcissist psycho Ted Faro made the mutations worse. And here comes what I believe is the most craziest and wild part. He survived 1,000 years later. So when we were in his bunker with Aloy, he was alive. He was mutated to this really gross plant-like vine thing, like a tree, I don't know, it just looks really, really gross. And he was actually basically brain dead. He didn't really have any capacity to think or speak or anything like that. He was just like roaring and stuff, you know what I mean? So obviously, I personally believe that he didn't have any reasoning. He was just like a big old monster. We ain't never actually seen him, but I do like to think he looked like the Rat King in The Last of Us 2, because all we see is like a little hologram of him. We ain't never actually see him. So yeah, the bunker ends up getting blown up, and he met his demise. You know, whatever was left of him, that was it. That was the end. So it's just pretty crazy stuff. That's basically the video there. So really, I just kind of enjoy making videos on certain topics that I found very fascinating, and this was just one of them. So this isn't to be an informative video or anything like that. It's just kind of laying my thoughts out. But this is it. So I want to ask you in the comments down below, what is one thing you found super fascinating or shocking about Forbidden West? Thank you so much, you guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.